Happy to have another young Indian with us. Uh, Hello, everybody. Good to be back. Right now, we have with us Ankit Rai. Let's listen to him. Over to you, Ankit.
First of all, good evening, sir, and thank you so much for providing me this opportunity. This is a wonderful platform where young Indians can come and share their views. So, sir, my name is Ankit Rai, as you said, and I have done my entire schooling from Lucknow only, from Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Public School, Lucknow. And if I have to give a brief journey of my school life, so till class 8, everything was fine. I was good in academics, so there was nothing to worry. But in class 9th, a major change took place. Like everyone was going towards IITs or NEET. So I also joined that rat race and I joined one of the coachings. Now, within 1 or 2 months, I came to know that this is not which I can do. So then I decided to drop that plan. And once you have dropped that plan, being a family where everyone is doing engineering, it is a humongous task. And then I have decided that I'll do something else. Then I started pondering about other areas, and I have like searched about if I'll opt commerce in my class 11, then I'll do BBA, MBA, law, or if I go for humanities and other fields which I can explore. So I explored, and eventually I come to a conclusion that law is something which is meant for me because still entire in my school life, I was a good debater. I was a good extempore. I was good in extempore. So these were the plus points which I have. And we, as a student, we all have that courtroom dramas in our mind that I'll just go in front of the judge and I'll just say whatever I want. But actually, things are different. So I had that image in my mind, and then I came to know about something called CLAT, the Common Law Admission Test. And someone suggested me that just like in in engineering, you have IITs, in law you have NLUs. So I started preparing in class 11th. I opted humanities, being the first person from my entire family to do that. And then I opted humanities. Now the sir, till my class 12th results, everything was fine because I got very good marks, 96%. Everyone was happy, fine. The biggest setback at that point of time which I faced was not getting selected in CLAT. The paper was good, the everything was fine. I was very sure that I'll get some college, but because the cutoff was a bit high, so I could not clear the cutoff. And at that point of time, I had two options in front of me: either took a drop and again prepare for CLAT, or to opt for DU. I was getting Hindu college at that point of time, which was a very good college of Delhi University. And those 2 3 days when I have to decide what I will be doing were the biggest and the toughest days of my life. And eventually I took suggestions from my juniors, from my seniors, and even from my family members. And eventually I come to a conclusion that I'll go for another drop and I'll prepare for CLAT. And in this entire journey, I would like to thank my family members because they were very supportive.
Okay.
Once I once just I told them and they were like, okay, you take another drop and you just prepare.
Another
Now, sir,
drop
the
meaning you had not taken a drop before this.
no, sir.
No, so it's the first drop.
First drop is first.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So then I started preparing for CLAT. Now, sir, the biggest tragedy that took place was in the year when I took drop. I took drop in a year when the landmark judgment of Ram Mandir came, because of which the internets were shut down for very frequently. I took drop in a year when CA and RC protests took place. I took a drop in a year when entire CLAT syllabus got changed.
Huh.
So these were the tragedies that occurred. And you won't believe, sir, the portion which I was like attempting the least, the RC portion, that became the major chunk of the syllabus, and 90% syllabus turned into RCs. And then eventually the COVID came and the exams got postponed. Eventually, I cleared the CLAT in that attempt, but I was not getting the college of my preference. So I decided to drop that plan and I just took admission in Lucknow University. In Lucknow University, sir, my till my in my these 4 years, it was been an exceptional, very fruitful years because I had the I was fortunate enough to have seniors who were very helpful. In my first year, I joined one of the committees, the moot court committees. The seniors there were very supportive, and the suggestions and the tips that they provided. And at that point of time, I realized that there is something which I have missed in my school life. And if I would have known these things at my school life, I would have been excelled more, and I would have been a better person, a better personality in whole. In first year only, I represented my university at various national competitions, at various international competitions, and even won one of them, the moot court competition of Marwadi University. And in my first year, because eventually after 2 3 months, the COVID again, the second wave comes, so I couldn't join the internships. But I opted for online internships. But to be very frank, those internships were more of a classroom scenario, because an individual would just come and just give you lecture on a specific topic, not like the practical internships which you get to see in law. And eventually, sir, again lockdown was lifted, and again I just started doing the things. And the best thing that I have done in my lockdowns was taking participation in maximum co-curricular activities. I was quarter finalist in a national mediation competition. I took part in various drafting competitions, and side by side I even joined the internships where I could learn something fruitful. So these things I have done in my school life. At present, sir, based on my performance, I am handling a committee called ADR cell. We all know that in future, the alternative dispute resolution is going to excel in legal field. So I am the convener of that committee, and we organize event. We even organize seminars, webinars on various platforms, so that the students of our university as well as the students at whole can excel.
Could
Now, sir,
you
talking.
talk a bit about this ADR? Because I did not know the term. I know now that you've expanded it, I know what you're talking about, but perhaps everybody doesn't know. So could you just tell us about this?
Sir, ADR is basically alternative dispute resolution. Like if you have a dispute with any other person, what an individual generally does, he goes to the court, and because there is paucity of judges, and because every day humongous number of cases are being filed. So because of that, the judges are overburdened with cases. Now the new mechanism has evolved, which is called alternative dispute resolution. And in this mechanism, there are various methods which are being defined. You can go for arbitration, you can go for mediation, negotiation, conciliation. These are the methods which are being defined. And in these methods, you don't have to go to the court. What you can do, you can just appoint a private third party who is certified by a organization or certified by the court. So they will assist you in coming to an amicable solution that is going to be mutually beneficial to both the parties. Eventually, when you go to court, there is a party who is a winner and there is a party who loses. But in ADR, what happens that both of them, through discussions, through negotiations, they can come to a solution that is going to be mutually beneficial to both the parties. So this is what ADR is all about. And
So
sir,
this is about civil cases, not about criminal cases.
sir, they can happen in criminal cases, but the compoundable offenses, the offenses in which the punishment is more than 3 years or which are heinous crimes, in
Okay.
those cases it's not applicable, but in other cases it is completely applicable.
Okay. All right.
And
Continue, please.
okay, sir. So, sir, now I would like to brief about my internship experience, and I would like to tell you about the internship experience, because if any of my juniors, if any of my batchmates who are watching this, they should also learn that when you are doing any internship, you should make sure that you are getting something fruitful or knowledgeable from that internship. uh, in the lockdowns, we all had, I again joined the same rat race, because many of my batchmates were posting on LinkedIn that I've started interning in Supreme Court of India or High Courts or any district court. So I had this FOMO of fear of missing out, that I am not doing something fruitful. But eventually, what I came to know that those internships were only for the sake of certificates. So whenever any individual, if any of my juniors, they are going to join an internship, I would definitely suggest them that please join that particular internship with the intention of learning something. And if you are not learning, just leave that internship in between. I till now I have done 4 internships, and in all those internships, I have learned something very fruitful. And my last internship was court internship. I got to know about, I visited court, I got to watch the hearings, how the actually court functions, and what the actual mechanism that is being accepted or what is being applied by the Indian judiciary. I got to know about that. So these type of internships are going to benefit you, not the internship that you do for the sake of certificates. And sir, I would also like to highlight one incident which I faced when I was in my first year. I joined one of the internships because it was lockdown, so it was an online internship. And what those people were doing, it was a law firm, and they used to allot you the entries that you have to make of a private company. Like the company was a big IT giant of India. So you have to make an entry of their clients and you have to do something like that. Like we are law student, what will I learn being doing that entries? So this was the
Nothing.
main concern, and so I just leave. So this is the things which an individual who is my junior, or if in any other field, if you are not going to learn anything from that internship, you just leave that internship. And whenever an individual should join an internship, he should follow the entire hierarchy. Like you should not just, if a law student is joining any internship, you should not just jump to Supreme Court of India or any High Court. They should start from the scrap. In first year, they can go for Lokayukt or any NGO, NHRC, something like that. In second year, they should go for district courts, then eventually High Court, and in fourth
Mm.
year, fifth year, they should go for Supreme Courts or any other tribunals if they want. Now, sir, talking about the competitions or the organizational experience which I have.
Yeah,
So,
please.
uh, till I have earlier mentioned that till now I have represented my university at various national international competitions, and in my that entire journey my seniors played a very fruitful role. They guided me, they provided me every possible tips, and whatever I have achieved, that was because of those seniors. And why I am mentioning seniors again and again is because once an individual enter into an undergraduate course, the biggest mistake that they do is by not choosing the correct peer group and not choosing the correct seniors who are going to guide you. And I was fortunate enough that I got them. So because of them and because of my own efforts, I was able to win the award of most promising team. I was a runner up in constitutional amendment drafting competition, and then I was quarterfinalists in mediation competitions. And I have side by side even organized various events in our university, national seminars, international moots, as well as the first national law fest. Being a state university, we were fortunate enough that we organized something like that where more than 14 events were organized, and it overall helped me in gaining new contacts. It overall helped me in making connections that are going to lifelong and that are eventually going to benefit me in future. So
All
these
right.
are the basic things where you take part in any competition, when you do anything like this, so you learn. Now, sir, this is my entire journey. Now, what I'll be doing in my futures, a little bit I would like to come to
Please.
that also.
Yes, please.
So it's a suggestion to my juniors also, because whenever someone enters into the college, they have few things very clear in mind. Or when anyone enters in their class 9th or 11th, they have few things clear in my mind that I'll go to IITs, I'll do engineering, then I'll go to this company. Or if an individual is opting humanities, then they will say that I'll go for BA, then UPSC, civil services, something like that. So there is one very suggestion from my end is, do not just jump to one conclusion. According to me, an individual should like broaden his horizons and should ponder into the other fields also, and then come
Mm.
to a solution that is going to be mutually beneficial to you in future, and not to any, like an individual should not just simply join any rat race or join anything just because his friend is doing or just because his colleague is doing something like that. For example, sir, till now I haven't decided what I'll be doing. Like I am more inclined towards advocacy, but many of my batchmates, they have joined judiciary coaching. Many of my batchmates, they are doing like they are preparing for their PG and all. But what I have done, that I'll go with the flow. I'll do internships. I'll do with my academics. At the same point in time, I'll prepare, give a decent amount of time towards my PG, and eventually, what I'll think is most suitable for me, I'll do that thing in my future.
Okay.
When I
Right.
entered in my college life, I had this thing that I'll do judiciary because I was not selected in NLU, I was not getting any corporate job. But now, with the suggestions of my seniors and with the research work which I have done, I am very sure that even if I'm going to prepare for corporate jobs, I'll get that. The path is bit tough, but I may prepare for the same and I may get into the same. And whenever I meet any of my juniors or whenever I meet any of my school friends, I just give them the same suggestions that please don't come jump to a conclusion that I'll be doing this. First of all, just start exploring new fields. If
Mhm.
in law, if you will, if sir, if I ask you how many fields you think that a lawyer can go after completing his law graduate, if you can answer me some fields, sir.
Well, law prepares you for almost anything on earth. Okay. Obviously, you're not going to become a pilot, right? But, not a rocket scientist or a pilot or something like that. But I know lawyers who never go to court. I know lawyers who always go to court. I know lawyers who just work in large companies, and they are actually running organizations also. So, law is actually a way of thinking rather than knowing the actual law, right? It is a learning, a way of thinking, very much a way of analysis that you learn in law. As far as I know, I'm not a lawyer, but I work with lawyers in many cases, and really it's a way of logically thinking and coming to a conclusion based on the evidence or the data that you have. Basically, that's a very good training to not rely on anything but data. Now, of course, in the real world, if you are not in the court, then you may not have the data. You may have to have some intuition and you may have to have some incomplete knowledge, but at least that logical thinking is there. So I think law is a very good degree if you take it seriously. Don't just memorize certain things and write. If you memorize and write answers, you're missing the point. You may get a degree, but you don't get the knowledge. The knowledge is like you wrote, you joined the constitutional drafting. Now, drafting is a key part of law, right? But drafting means you have to think of what you want to say, whether you have said what you want to say, and how it could be misinterpreted. And so you have to guard against that. So there's a lot of thinking in the whole process. Every word counts, every comma counts. And there's a whole debate in the US on what is called as the Second Amendment of the Constitution. And it's only the Constitution amendment is only one sentence, and it's a short sentence, but there's a comma in it. Okay. And the whole debate is raging around what exactly is the meaning of putting this comma here. I'm serious. The whole debate is about what, so drafting, what did they mean by putting a comma here? Because they could have left it out. It would still be grammatically correct, but it would have a slightly different meaning. So what is the meaning of this Second Amendment when it has a comma in it? So there's a big debate about that. So drafting is a very important skill. You have to know what you're going to, you have to know what you want, you have to know how to write it, and you have to know how people could misinterpret it and therefore guard against that. So it's a very important way of thinking. Anyway, I'm not a lawyer, so why should I be telling you this? But you asked me, so I answered. Okay.
Okay, sir.
You please
So,
continue.
so whenever a new freshie who enters into a college, if you generally ask what you want to pursue, he'll just have two answers. Like either he'll go for judiciary or he'll go for advocacy. But as you mentioned, that law is not something which will restrict you. You can become
Yeah.
anything by doing law.
Yes.
And whenever I get to meet my juniors, I just suggest them the same thing that you can become an arbitrator, a mediator, or you can even join politics. Everything you can do with law. So just not restrict yourself in the first year only. Explore yourself. Join the committees which are provided in your college. Join the seminars, the webinars, as well as the various competitions that are being organized. Because until unless you are not going to explore things, until unless you are not going to face the practical thing, you will not going to learn. Sir,
Just tell
I want
just
to
tell them that Mahatma Gandhi was a lawyer. he
sir,
was
all
more he was more fond of going to prison than to court.
sir, every noble personality has a connection with law. And
Yeah.
the entire freedom struggle of India was
Yeah.
fought by the lawyers.
Of
Whether you go
course.
for Lal Nehru or any person,
Yeah,
they
that's
are
what
all
I'm
connected
saying.
with
That
law.
I name Mahatma Gandhi because everybody knows him. I said, well, he's a lawyer who liked to go to prison, not to court. So yeah, lawyers can do anything. Okay, let's continue. It's not my turn to talk, it's your turn. So let's go ahead.
Yes, sir. So they should, like, if an individual is coming to law, they should first have things very clear. Like, many a person who just do law for the sake of degree, and I don't call them lawyers,
Okay.
because eventually you are not going to do something very fruitful in your life with that degree.
Yeah.
And when you are joining this profession, you have to be very clear in your mind that in your entire life, whether you become a judge or whether you become an advocate or you join any profession, you have to be a very good reader as well as a very good listener, apart from a good speaker. Many
Mm.
people think that they have a good speaking skills. What they will do, they will stand in front of the dais and they'll stand in front of the lordships and everything will be fine. But for standing in front of the dice, there is a preparation which needs to be done, and you
Yeah.
have to be mentally prepared for that. We all know that lawyers, they have a bundle of books, a bundle of cases which they have to read. So
Mm.
if you are any of the person who want to join this profession, they have to be very clear in their mind that if you are going to come to this profession, you have to be a very good reader and a very good listener.
Okay. All right.
Next,
Yeah, continue,
next thing,
please.
which I think that I have missed in my school life, and which I think that some lacking is there in my university. And based on those experiences, I would like to suggest something which
Please.
I have, like, in school level. I think that the school should regularly organize co-curricular activities. My own school, they had this debate extempore, but apart from that, they were not organizing anything else. And when I entered into the college, there were students who have participated in MUNs, who have participated in youth parliament, who have done moot courts. The moot courts which I have done in my first year of my college life, they have done in their school. So this is a very humble suggestion, and I, few days back, I even had a chat with my school principal, and I am working with her so that we can implement the same mechanism in school level also, so that the students at whole can benefit. Also, sir, it should be the duty, the primary duty of the schools, that they should provide a proper awareness to the students. When I entered into the college, I get to know some things like Swayam is there, Coursera is there. These platforms are providing you courses for free of cost. And there are various other platforms which are providing you something fruitful. But because there is lack of awareness, because there is lack of knowledge, and also there is some sort of like we also, we being a student, we also do very, we are not that much uh, we don't give that much time to our own beneficial things. For example, if you ask any school student what he'll be doing, he'll just, if he's done with the academics, he thinks that his work is done. But when he enters the practical world in the undergraduate, or when he passes undergraduate and when he enters into the professional world, at that point of time, he comes to encounter the real hardships. And if he would have done those things at school level,
Hmm.
or at college level, he would have been at a beneficial position. So
Okay.
these things need to be implemented. Also, sir, there needs to be a proper counseling of the students. What the students do, that they just join the rat race, that I want to do IIT because my friend is doing or my father has done. A proper counseling sessions needs to be organized so that an individual should know what he or she wants to do or wants to exercise in future. And this
Hmm.
counseling should start from class 9th only, because class
Okay.
11th is going to opt the subjects of his choice, and eventually on the basis of those subjects he's going to opt something in future. So
Yeah.
these things are two things which I suggest that is at school level should be there. Apart from that, at college level, sir, what I suggest is the faculty or the teachers who are teaching you, the professors who are teaching you, they should. What is the biggest problem with state universities, sir? That they become complacent because they know that eventually they're going to get their salaries. You are
Yeah.
state university or you are a central university, so they don't want to make that much efforts towards the betterment of the student. By betterment of the student, I don't mean the classes, but the other fields which needs to be explored or which can be explored. So these things needs to be implemented, especially if you are a state funded university or if you are a centrally funded university. So the professor should come forward. They should organize sessions. They should organize practical learning experience for the students, because eventually when an individual will learn about practical things, only then he can know what he will be actually facing when he will enter into the professional world. For example, sir, many of the 80% of my batch is going for judiciary and all.
Yeah.
But reality of judiciary is the vacancy which came this year in the year 2023 was after 2017.
Yeah.
So 5 6 years you are not going to do anything. Or
Yeah.
if you are planning to give judiciary of any other states, they are having state quota, they are having other reservations. Hardly the seats that are going to be limited for you is 10 to 15, and there
Yeah.
is cutthroat competition.
Yeah.
And then also there are students who are preparing for 10 years, 12 years. If you are preparing for 10 years to 12 years, according to me, you have wasted the entire youth of yourself, which could have been used in a more fruitful way, or which could have been used in a better way, so that you could have contributed something towards the betterment of the society as whole, or towards the country.
Yeah.
So these things needs to be implemented, which I think that should be there.
Okay.
Also, sir, if students are coming with new ideas, they need to be supported by the management. For example, we don't had this thing called newsletter in our university. We proposed the same, and we are into the process, and we'll have this. We never had this ADR cell in our university. We were the ones who established the same. So something we need to change ourselves with the changing environment, and the
Mm-hmm.
students should also change themselves. They should not restrict themselves from for any particular thing. Also, the next and the most humongous thing that the universities should do is establishment of a placement cell, a proper placement cell, or a proper internship cell in their particular campuses.
Yeah.
What happens if I, being an individual, is applying for any tier one law firm or for any internships? They will not even consider my CV. Why? Because I am not getting backing from any authority. But if the same is being recommended from any university, from a top class state university, or from a professor, or from any dean of my institute, so that will have more weightage, and the chances of me being selected for that internship increases.
Yeah.
So these things need to be done. And because we as Lucknow University, or there are various universities where who are facing the same problem. We are 100, we have a very, like, what I will say, a century old tradition, a century old university. So we
Yeah.
have plenty of what we call the alumni base. But
Yeah.
the thing is, we don't use that alumni base in providing internships or in providing placements. So these things need to be implemented so that the student
Mm.
of that particular organization or students could benefit as whole. Also, the every person, whether he is doing law or anything, he should use the professional networking sites, whether it is LinkedIn or any other social media site, where you can get to meet the professionals, the legal mavericks, or the other mavericks of that particular field.
Mhm.
And these are such platforms who are eventually going to provide you the fruitful knowledge, because the content that is being posted on these platforms are very good, and they are the recent ones. Also, at the same point of time, you get to meet people, you get to have a network with such people who will in future professionally benefit you.
All right.
So these things need to be implemented. And I started using LinkedIn in my first year of my college.
Yeah.
But now I am witnessing that even the school students are also started to use the same. So
Yeah.
these things need to be implemented so that they can have a proper uh, network till the time they reach their professional network, so that they don't have to ponder about that what he should do or where he should go. At, uh, at the end, he should have a sort of job security, what we called, based on those networking. So these things I have, sir, in my mind. So, sir, this is all
Okay.
which
It's very,
wanted
very
to.
profound and a lot of things. I'm glad you have shared so much. You come very well prepared to share. You're like a lawyer. You come well prepared. You have told us a lot of things. I'm glad you got the chance to do it. Maybe we'll catch up with you in 1 year to see where you are. how you are doing, what's
Awesome.
changed for you. But let's say bye to the viewers now. I'll be back with another young person or an expert soon. Bye till then. Bye, everybody.